Hi. The coping strategy that I am presenting this week is the behavior modification strategy. This cartoon I thought was really cute. It says, "Watch what I can make Pavlov do. As soon as I drool, he'll smile and write in his little notebook." When I read the title of this presentation, that was the first thing I thought of was Pavlov's dog, so I wanted to add that. Behaviors are defined as actions, either direct or indirect, that are based on conscious and sometimes unconscious thoughts. Stress and behaviors are very closely related. Stress is actually the most likely catalyst of an unhealthy behavior. And becoming aware of how stress affects your behavior is important to being able to modify negative behaviors. For instance, if you know that when you are stressed, you eat more than you should, knowing that connection can help you to change that behavior. Maybe you drink when you're stressed, or just all kinds of different things. Different stressors can be a catalyst for all kinds of different behaviors. So that link is very strong. The behavior modification model is a model that illustrates the steps taken to change a negative behavior into a positive one. The first basic behavior modification model talks about different stages, and they say that a precursor to the actual first stage is denial. So, of course, we know denial would be denying that there is a problem, or denying that it's a problem to the extent that it is. The first stage is to become aware. This is identifying that you have an undesirable behavior, or sometimes this is something that you notice yourself. Sometimes maybe a loved one needs to bring this to your attention. Hopefully they do that in a kind way. Stage 2 would be to have a desire to actually change. And this generally comes about when the behavior no longer provides the ability to cope, or the person sees that this particular behavior is putting them on a path towards disaster or death. So this could be like hitting rock bottom for some people. Stage 3 is cognitive restructuring, and the person catches themselves in the act of the negative behavior, and then they think of a new suitable behavior. Stage 4 is actually behavior substitution. This is an action step. An undesirable behavior is consciously replaced with a healthy or stress-reducing one. So sometimes the modifications are in the form of additions to your repertoire of coping skills. For instance, learning how to better deal with people when you're stressed, learning healthy ways to deal with stress, which of course is what this class is about. So hopefully we all learned some behavior substitutions in this class. Stage 5 is evaluation. This is when the person steps back to see if the new substituted behavior is working, and then fine-tunes the process to meet their needs. There's a second behavior modification model. This one is called Stages of Change, and it was developed by James Prohaska and Carlo Di Clemente. And they observed that behavior change, especially those of an addictive nature, is a process that may take months or longer to master. This is similar to the development of an athletic skill. And I know in this day and age where we want things to change now, we want everything quick, this can be hard to take. Their model has 6 stages of change. The pre-contemplation stage, and this is basically denial of a problem. The contemplative stage, in this stage the person has a knowledge of the problem and they're thinking about maybe making a choice to change. Step 3 is the determination stage, and this is when willpower is called upon to put thought processes of change into action. So you have decided you're going to change this behavior, and so you're just going to buckle down and try to do it. Stage 4 would be the action stage. In this stage, action is taken, but it may take several tries to get it right. The 5th stage is the maintenance stage, and this stage is where the person makes a change, a part of their regular routine, and it becomes second nature. And then 6 is the relapse stage, and this is a period in which the old behavior is resumed for a while and the new behavior must be readopted. So an example of this in my life would be that I could stand to lose a few pounds, exercise more, eat a little healthier. I tend to want to eat when I'm stressed, so those are some things that I'm working on that are all related together. So I've gone through the pre-contemplation stage, I've gone to the contemplative stage. I've determined that I'm going to do this. I'm going to exercise every day. I'm going to eat healthier, watch what I eat. And so at this point, I am in the action stage, and I'm taking action on that. I've started Weight Watchers again. I am exercising every day, at least 30 minutes a day, sometimes more. And hopefully, through having summer break, I can get up to the maintenance stage where this is a part of my regular routine. I think the big challenge will be when I go back to work, my schedule will change again, and so there may be a little bit of a relapse, but hopefully I can get this, make it enough a part of what I'm doing that I can just find a way to fit it in when school starts again. I haven't always been super successful in the past. Positive effects of behavior modification are improved self-esteem. If you are able to change a behavior that was negative into a positive, that you just feel better about yourself and you feel like you're a better version of you. Improved health. If you're less stressed, then of course that's going to improve your health, as we read in our chapter this week. Improve relationships with others. If you're feeling better about yourself, then your relationships with others are going to be better. Behavior modification is also very closely linked to becoming more assertive. And so as you learn to be more assertive, then those things will, it's just going to improve. And then modifying your own behaviors. I can think of a lot of ways that I would like to be better. And I'm sure everybody can think of things that they want to change about themselves. So if you're serious about trying this, first of all, you need to become aware of the undesirable behavior, which we're usually pretty good at that. Choose only one behavior to modify at a time. They say that's really important because you'll be more successful if you're just focusing on one thing, which made me think, focusing on exercise and eating better, that's really technically two things, but they're so closely related that I think I'm just going to go out on a limb and try that. So, monitor your thoughts and actions during times of stress, especially, and I think that's really important. If you notice that when something's bothering you, you run to the cookie jar, or I need to replace those types of thoughts with, you know what, let's go for a short walk and get some of that stress out a different way. And then continue with the remaining steps, because this is a process. It won't happen overnight, and that's probably one of the reasons that modifying our behaviors is hard. So I look forward to seeing your presentations and learning some new ways to help with my stress also.